All right, if it's one thing I've learned, you must start on time. Thank you, Chief Wardwell. Well, that's not gonna work for me. Okay. And apparently we need a bigger podium. Good morning, everybody. It's an exciting day. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning as we are here to swear in the City of New Britain 16th Chief of Police, Matthew Thomas Marino. At this time, I would like to call up our police chaplain, Pastor Thomas Mills, for our opening prayer.
Let us pray. We gather on this beautiful morning to celebrate and to acknowledge the swearing in of Chief Matthew Thomas Marino as the 16th Chief of Police of the City of New Britain. We ask you to guide Chief Marino as he now carries the weight of the community's safety and welfare on his shoulders, to grant him strength of will and prudence to fulfill the demands of his duties and responsibilities, and grant him grace with divine wisdom as he leads the New Britain Police Department with honor and dignity, justice, and fairness. We also ask you to watch over all police officers who bravely and selflessly put their lives on the line day in and day out to keep us safe, to grant them strength and courage to face the dangers of today's world and to protect their families as well. We ask for your continued blessings upon the Honorable Mayor Aaron Stewart, City Council, all government officials, city servants, members of service organizations, and residents who work together as members of one family called New Britain for the well-being and prosperity of our vibrant and beautiful city. Our prayer this morning comes from a heart filled with gratitude for your presence. Draw us, gracious God of peace, to the well of your wisdom today, tomorrow, and always. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Mills. At this time, let's present the colors. And can we all please stand as we do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Attorney Watson was going to sing the pledge, the national anthem for us, but sorry. It was a joke. It was a funny. It was haha. Before we start getting into some remarks that we have today, I just want to take a moment to say a few words. In addition to thanking everybody for being here, we have a lot of very important people here today. Our elected officials, our police commission, our retired chiefs. There's chiefs from many other departments that are here. Thank you so much for being with us as we're here to officially swear in our new chief for the New Britain Police Department. You know, over the last 10 years, I've had the honor of leading many promotion ceremonies along with Chief Shute and Chief Wardwell, and 3 of those have now all involved Matt Marino. I've had, it's not too often, you know, you get to hire somebody that you grew up with as a kid in a position as important as this one. But that's what makes New Britain what we are and makes us the community that we are. I've had the pleasure of watching Matt rise up through the ranks within the department, driven by a fierce dedication to protect and serve the community that means so much to him, the one that he has called home his entire life. We have a deep pride in our city and often feel called to give back to the community that has shaped us into the people that we are today. Chief Marino is the epitome of this sentiment. To talk personally, Matt is one of the most inspiring and honest people I've had the pleasure of knowing. You can pay me for that later. I'm confident that his interpersonal communication skills, emotional intelligence, balanced experience, critical thinking abilities, as well as his commitment to the department and our city will give him the ability to face and endure the never-ending challenges and scrutiny that unfortunately will accompany his new position. Back in 2015, I talk about this frequently in my conversations with Chief Wardwell. President Obama's administration issued the final report of the President's Task Force on 21st Century Policing. And our department has used this as a guideline to begin instituting reform in the New Britain Police Department under Chief Wardwell, and this critically important work continued under Chief Shute. It's what led us to reach that Tier 3 accreditation this year, something no other community has been able to accomplish years ahead of the deadline. I know Chief Marino will continue shaping our department into the modern police force dedicated to providing the highest level of service to the residents that we serve. As Chief, Matt Marino will continue the department's focus on implementing and executing those pillars of our 21st century policing model. He's going to continue building trust and legitimacy. He will focus on policy and oversight. He will improve our use of technology and social media, focus on community policing and crime reduction, improve our training and education for all officers, and make officer wellness and safety a priority. He knows it because he's lived it. We must continue to implement positive change on the culture of policing. A great philosopher, Plato, once said, "In a republic that honors the core of democracy, the greatest amount of power is given to those called guardians. Only those with the most impeccable character are chosen to bear the responsibility of protecting the democracy." And that's what did it for me. It's Chief Marino's mentality of viewing policing as guardians as opposed to warriors. He knows and understands that the role of law enforcement is to protect the dignity and human rights for all. For those reasons and more, I'm proud to stand before him today and welcome him as the city's 16th police chief. And with that being said, I would like to call up our current police board chairman and retired Chief James Wardwell for a few remarks.
Good morning, everybody. Chief Marino, congratulations. I cannot tell you how proud I am of you, along with everyone else in this room. But personally, watching you before you were even a member of the New Britain Police Department, as a young man going through New Britain school system is when I first met you. Watched you through the whole application process, the background process, and then everything else through your police career. Through the academy, I was one of your trainers. And then it reversed, where I began to learn from you throughout your career, watching you advance. There was one thing I just want to share, just a real quick little story. And Chief Marino, you probably remember this, but when Chief Marino came before me and the Police Commission, and Alderman Dyson, I believe you were there, when you were seeking the position of sergeant. And we asked you what your aspirations were, what your goals were in the police department. At that time, then Officer Marino told the board, "I'd like to be the youngest chief of police in New Britain's history." I think you've done that. So, very good. And your youth is a strength, and it's your experiences that build your foundation. It's our path forward is so strong. Before I go ahead with my remarks, I do just want to thank Captain Adam Rembis and Deputy Chief Ben Murphy, who also put in for this very important position. Gentlemen, thank you both for having the courage to step up and put your names forward for such an important position for this department in this city. Thank you for that. So, Chief Marino, rely on the totality of your experiences, but those are only a very small part of the equation, what was behind you. That built a foundation, but what lies ahead, your path forward, and your commitment to serving the New Britain Police Department in the city of New Britain with all the talents God has given you is what will truly matter. I'd like to, if you'd accept it, offer you some advice. Advice from a bit of a unique perspective, Chief of Police to Chief of Police, New Britain Chief of Police to New Britain Chief of Police, but most importantly, friend to friend. And my advice to you as a Chief of Police, be a unifier. There will always be differences of opinions on issues within the ranks, among command staff, within our community, and so on. As chief, you must realize that so much can be accomplished when we work together. Empower others to have their voices heard so bridges can be built or strengthened. To clearly demonstrate we are always stronger together. Be self-aware and have humility. Self-awareness, know who you are, you chief of police, but you're also Matt, husband, son, father, brother, friend, athlete, community member, and so much more. Know yourself and know you can make mistakes just like the rest of us. None of us know everything. You have a team of terrific people within and outside the department. Seek feedback or guidance whenever you need it. Have humility. Never forget where you came from. I know we typically classify leaders as charismatic and visionary folks. Those are great traits and certainly okay to have, but I suggest a bit of humility allows leaders to be better listeners, better team builders, and more in tune with their personnel and the community they serve. Self-awareness and humility are strengths. One piece of advice is today, ask yourself this question. Ask yourself, how am I meant to serve? Think about it. Think about the answer. Truly serve our men and women in blue, our community, our elected officials, our courts. Never forget the answer to that question you're asking yourself today. You will face many challenges as chief of police of a busy police department such as ours. Each challenge can be met by asking yourself this question and reminding yourself of its answer. It will bring you back to your core. You will be refocused on who you are and why the community and department needs you so. When you meet every challenge with remembering, how am I meant to serve, you will never let our officers or our city down. Patience. Patience is, you need patience for everyone and everything you interact with. All the issues you'll face, but most of all, you need patience with yourself. You will be a terrific chief of police, but you're human. Give yourself the patience you deserve when dealing with a new challenge. You may need to act with immediacy or carefully consider a problem. Regardless of timelines, be patient with yourself and do not be hard on yourself if you may stumble. If you stumble, stay focused and confident. Pick yourself back up and move the department and community towards the positive outcome you seek. Be always patient and always act decisively. And Matt, never let the title chief define you. Rather, choose to inspire the department and the community to use you as the positive example of how they define the word chief. Certainly, how you handle high-profile issues or the many crises you're going to face will be noticed, but it'll be the much smaller, day-to-day way you conduct yourself that will truly define you as chief. How you treat your bosses, your peers, your subordinates, your community, your partners in other departments, the media, with the smallest of gestures, such as a greeting or words of care, words of support, along with your transparency, are all the little ways you're going to be summed up as chief. So in short, never forget the small things. So I just want to wrap this up by saying how excited I am for you, Chief Marino, our police department, and our city. Those of us that have retired from the New Britain Police Department, we're always going to be NBPD. So it's so great to see our department on such a positive path forward with you and the men and women in blue, and God bless you.
Thank you, Chairman/Chief Wardwell. At this time, I'd like to call up our recently retired Chief, Chris Shute.
All right, so good morning, and welcome to the club, Matt. I don't know what happened. I think I dropped my notes, and Chief Wardwell picked them up, and he read them all, so I don't have a lot going on here. But I just want to say a few words, and just to kind of build on what Chief Wardwell said, and all the advice he gave you. And I had the ability to watch you grow during your career, and it was something I kept saying over and over again, especially to Chief Wardwell, is that you're the future. You were the future of the department, and at some point, I always knew you were going to be chief of police. And you were the epitome of a New Britain kid. Not only did you grow up here, you gave your whole life here. You volunteered time. You chose to raise your family here. And if anybody knows Matt, especially recently, being chief, when Matt would come in and describe a situation, and it would be prefaced with, well, the New Britain in me would want to say, blah, 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 I would start scratching my head and rubbing the back of my head and start getting really nervous. But that's a trait of yours that's, it's called passion, and you have it. You're probably one of the more passionate people that I've met. But just a couple other things to build on what Chief Wardwell says is that this is a very tough job that you're taking on. I have no doubt in my mind you're going to succeed very well at it. Just remember, you're going to feel alone a lot. You're going to have these decisions put on you, and you're going to have to make those decisions, and you're it. The buck stops with you. But there's something about you that comes across very strong. You're willing to ask for help. You're humble. You show humility. You show those traits. You've always have. And I strongly suggest you keep those traits and do not let this title go to your head or think that just because you're chief, things are going to fall in place, because they're not. And you're going to make mistakes every single day. But I know you, and I know that you're going to learn from those mistakes, and that's the best thing that you can do. So it is kind of full circle. Your father was my mentor. I hope I had some kind of influence on you in a positive way. And to be here today to watch you get sworn in is full circle. And I'm so proud to be here to speak on your behalf and to have you as a friend. Just remember, you always have Chief Wardwell and myself at a text message, a phone call, or you can stop by Cafe Shooters and see me anytime that you want. So congratulations, Matt.
Thank you, Chief. And our last person for remarks today, our state's attorney, Christian M. Watson. The Honorable.
Matt, how are you? So I borrowed some of these remarks from my learned colleague because I think he can probably say it better than I can, and I added some words to it. Thank you for all allowing me the honor of speaking with you all here today. Over the course of my career as a prosecutor, I've had the pleasure of establishing professional relationships as well as professional relationships with many of the fine men and women of the New Britain Police Department. I consider it an honor to have done the same thing with Chief Matt Marino. Chief Marino is a person who dedicated his life and career to protecting and serving the people of New Britain. His devoted attitude to public service was instilled in him from a young age and was undoubtedly inherited from watching his family members do the same for several generations. As a society, we demand much from a police officer, especially a chief. We tell our officers that they must be soldiers on the war against violence, social workers capable of dealing with the impoverished and alienated, and constitutional scholars who understand the law. That's a lot that we expect from an officer every day. The Declaration of Independence tells us that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are the words that are the prism by which America sees itself, and conversely how the world views America. We're a nation of laws, and inherent in that belief is the unshakable notion that no person is above it, and that is above the law. And equally important, no person is unworthy of the law's protections. But who do we look to in order to protect those rights? Who do we look to every day to do it? 911 emergency calls are not routed through a judge's chambers or a defense counsel's office. Law professors aren't dispatched to domestic violence calls or murders. No, it's the police that do it. The ordinary officer on the beat who is sworn to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. That's our first and our best line of defense against all of the elements in society who are trying to take the criminal activities that they do on a daily basis and destroy ours. Yes, we demand a lot from the police officer, and there's a danger that as a society we forget, perhaps more accurately, and refuse to acknowledge the inherent dangers and tremendous toll it takes on those officers and their lives and their families. The officers called upon daily to confront situations that a civilian simply cannot comprehend. All of this is done in an unbridled effort to protect and serve. Now, Matt is the epitome of that, and Chief Marino is the epitome of that. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. And from one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. I'm sure several of you have heard that throughout your lives. And I submit to you that the single most important issue facing Chief Matt Marino and his strong, faithful officers is the systemic lack of faith in the criminal justice system and the police force. And that needs to change. And Matt's going to change that and continue to change that. And Chief Marino's charge is to continue to forge relationships with the community and build upon the trust that has been created in that community by Chiefs Wardwell and Chief Shute. I have no doubt in my mind about the dedication that Chief Marino will show to the citizens of New Britain and to the 165 officers that he commands. His record of achievements and ability to remain humble, loyal, steadfast, understanding, and forward-thinking have served him well. And these personal attributes will give Chief Marino everything he needs to continue the mission of the New Britain Police Department. And that's simply to protect and serve. But it's not simple to do. I just wanted to personally extend to Chief Marino and all the members of the New Britain Police Department and every law enforcement agency my personal gratitude for everything you all have done, will continue to do, and will always do to protect and serve. Congratulations, Chief.
All right, I lied, one more person. Congresswoman Jahana Hayes is here, and I'd like her to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Stewart. I'm very excited to be here today just to congratulate your new incoming chief of the City of New Britain. I am a congresswoman, but I also am the wife of a law enforcement officer. My husband worked 25 years with the Waterbury Police Department, so I truly appreciate what it means to protect and serve. I have a different level of understanding for what it means to go to a call that should have started out as a non-issue that ends in a deadly manner. So I am forever committed to helping to make sure that our law enforcement officers across this district have everything that they need to protect and to serve, and that your families are also taken care of. So I am just humbled to be here today to extend further congratulations to you as you undertake this role, which I know is deeply personal for you. As someone who is deeply committed to this community in every way, from working with PAL to really building and forging stronger relationships with the community, I just commend you and offer my hand of support and congratulations today. Thank you.
Okay, now the exciting part. Captain Marino, the last time I'll call you that, please come up. I'm going to offer the oath of office, and then Chief Marino's Uncle Lou is going to be pinning him of his badge. So, Captain, will you please raise your right hand? And you don't have to repeat after me. We'll just do the whole I do thing. I, Matthew Thomas Marino, do solemnly swear that I will always support and uphold the Constitution, laws, and statutes of the United States of America and the state of Connecticut, the charter and ordinances of the City of New Britain, and the policies, procedures, rules, and regulations of the New Britain Police Department. On my honor, I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. Furthermore, I pledge that I will discharge the powers and duties of my position as Chief of Police to the best of my knowledge and ability, so help me God. I do. Congratulations, Chief.
I'm going to wait for my youngest son to sit down because he's usually the hardest one to deal with. I actually lost my notes too, along with Chief Shute. I don't know if the same person grabbed them. But in reality, when he brought up that he hopes at some point or another he served as a mentor to me, the reason I don't have any notes is because I've watched him for years stand up in front of a room and address the community without any, and that taught me that, you know, that really comes from the heart and is the most honest. And I'm going to wing it, so thank you for that, Chief Shute. Thank you, Mayor, for your support and your confidence in me. A special thank you to your office for making today happen. Most importantly, and she didn't know I was going to say this, but to my wife, thank you. The amount that you sacrifice behind the scenes and all the efforts that you put in, I'm sure you think go unnoticed, but that is far from the case. I know the 3 kids here probably felt that they just came for the snacks, but in all seriousness, I hope someday they realize how hard you've worked. I know most of the room knows Barbara Marino, and I cannot get through this without thanking her. Although I'm sure that up until the time I graduated the police academy, she hoped that I would do anything else with my life, but follow in my father's footsteps. To her, my Aunt Lisa, my Uncle Chuck, who've been around the PD for the majority of their lives and seen it from where it's come from to where we are now, thank you for your support. I love you all. The rest of my family that's here, I love you all. State's Attorney Watson, I do want to say that I'll never forget the day that you were sworn in, and you made it a point to explain to the room that if there's anything that you would wish for on that day was to have your father there. And that I will never forget. As I stand here right now, it is something that I think about and share with you, and that motivates me to continue to build on our relationship, having that in common. To the community that I was raised to love, that I still love and am raising a family in, I know that I have earned nothing more than an opportunity to serve you all with the fine men and women of this department. That I will never lose sight of that. I take pride in being from New Britain, as a New Britain kid in me would always want to say. And last but not least, the men and women of our great department. I grew up believing that this was the best police department in the state of Connecticut. I realized at times that we were not perfect, but how far we've come over the last 10 years speaks volumes to all of the hard work that you all put in on a daily basis, and that is not lost on me. I hope that you trust me and the rest of the command staff to continue to lead you. I understand that not one human is perfect, but we have maintained and upheld the standard of excellence here, and I hope to continue to do so. Thank you all for all your efforts, and thank you everybody for all the support today.
And while we're all still standing, Pastor Mills for a closing prayer.
Let us bow our heads. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May God give you his peace in your going out and in your coming in your lying down and in your rising up, in your labor and in your leisure, in your laughter and in your tears, until you come to stand before your Maker, your Creator, in that day in which there is no sunset and no dawning. Amen. Congratulations, Chief Marino.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our ceremony. And of course, with every chief of police or police ceremony, there's cake and coffee in the room next door here in 201. Thank you so much.